You're listening to AM 1220 KDOW, the Bay Area's business leader. And welcome to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy, helping you explore new marketing and social media trends that will give you that extra punch in your marketing strategy. Now, here's your host for Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy, Erica Taylor Montgomery.
Welcome to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy. I'm your host, Erica Taylor Montgomery, and I am the founder and CEO of Three Girls Media and Marketing, Inc., which is a public relations and social media marketing agency that specializes in working with small and emerging companies. And you can find us online at threegirlsmedia.com. That's threegirlsmedia.com. Now, Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy is a show that covers everything you need to know to punch through your competition and deliver that knockout when it comes to public relations, marketing, social media, branding, advertising, and so much more. We've got an outstanding show for you today. In round one, we're going to be talking to a former TV news anchor and business owner about how businesses can communicate better. Now, every company relies on communication to get its messages out. And what can you do to make your communication as effective as possible? We're going to be covering that in round one. And in round two of Punch today, we're going to be talking about Advertising 101. What you need to know about the various avenues of advertising available and how you can really maximize your dollars. You can find the full lineup of upcoming guests as well as the archives of Punch online at punchmarketing.biz. That's punchmarketing.biz. So let's jump right into round one of today's show, how businesses can communicate better. My guest is a former TV anchor and radio host who is now a small business owner. He was also honored as Trainer of the Year by the American Society for Training and Development. From Mark Grimm Communications, please welcome Mark Grimm to the show. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Erica. Great to be with you.
Pleasure to have you. So I know that communication really is everything when it comes to public relations, marketing, advertising, ourselves when we're out at networking events and that sort of thing. Communication is really all encompassing. So what do you think, Mark, is one of the most important communication challenges that small business owners face today?
Well, given that we live in the 21st century now where everybody's a publisher, Erica, anybody on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, they may not be skilled in the writing and speaking in the way the journalists were in the past, but essentially in the 21st century, we're going to get most of our news from each other. And given that fact, then the communication has a heightened interest now, particularly for small business owners who may also be their marketing people, particularly for a sole proprietor. You're out there going to mixers and trying to build your business, and when people ask you what you do, that next 30 seconds or a minute is really important, and so many people fail. So I think this is the ability to identify what you do that really matters in a short period of time, rather than talking about the details of how you do your business, which is what you might be interested in. It's really about why should they matter about your business and why can you help them. And that clarity has a lot of value. And those who are able to speak clearly with compelling thoughts, they are going to own the 21st century.
You know, I agree with you, Mark. I think that is so important to be able to communicate clearly what it is you do in a way that comes across as how you can help people as opposed to just selling people. You know, in my experience, people want to do business with other people. They don't want to do business with a nameless, faceless company. They want that relationship, especially if you're dealing with small businesses. So let's talk about networking for a second, because it's something that every small business owner and entrepreneur should be doing. It's a great way to help build your business and raise your brand awareness and your name recognition. But I think so many people fail at networking opportunities. They don't even know where to begin. When they think it's just a business card exchange and they've made a connection. And it's so much more than that. So, Mark, maybe you can take us through a typical networking event and how a business executive really can communicate better at an event like that.
Sure. The first thing is to know who's there, to do your homework. When is not doing your homework a good idea? So if you have some sense of who the people are that they're, if you have access to that information, and do a little homework about them, so when you meet them, you're able to speak pretty candidly about what they do, and then listen, because ultimately, I like to use the term, what's your pain? Because all of us in business have pain. That is, if there's something we could do better or fix in the next 30 days, what would it be? I've never met a business person that didn't have an answer to that question.
Absolutely.
So if it's in the communication area, then I kind of hone in and say, I don't want to sell you anything. I want to help you. This is the information that might help you. And I like to ask people, what's your story when I meet them? Because we all have a story, and that's how you tell that story really matters a lot. It's about talking about benefits rather than titles or duties. I mean, what are the things that you do clearly that will help me, if you're clear about that? And, of course, once you listen and probe a little bit, you get a better idea for where their pain is. And then my answer is, well, what I do for a living is help people like you in this specific way.
Sure. And, at networking events, so much of the time we're called on to do what's typically known as an elevator speech, right? It's your 30-second intro or your 60-second intro. And I have taken years to get mine down pat and know what I need to put out there in front of each specific audience that I'm going to be talking to. And I think that that's where so many small business owners and entrepreneurs fail, is that they don't really have a scripted elevator speech that they can fall back on. So maybe you can talk a little bit, Mark, about what should be in an elevator speech and how it's best presented.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I don't like the term elevator speech because it has this canned feeling. And I think the most important thing you can be is genuine. Because too often people go into these clever little sayings and they say it all the time. And frankly, I think it goes in one ear and out the other for people who are listening. So I really think that you have to be consistent with what you offer, but presented in a genuine way, because that comes across. Because in the end, we're not selling to businesses. We're dealing with people.
Absolutely.
And so this first step, of course, is to listen and probe from them to see what their pain is or what they would like to improve, and say, gee, I get what your pain is. I think it's X. And you know what? This is how I would help you with X. Let me be very specific about that. So the more specific you are about helping them, the better their hearing gets.
That's right.
So I would... so that's why I think these elevator speeches have to be a little bit flexible. One, because autopilot is, and we've all bumped into people who go into an autopilot saying, and it seems too canned. And two, you want to really tailor it to what their needs are, and their needs are different than everybody else in the room. And if you get that, their hearing is going to be a lot better.
Absolutely. So, I like to start at networking events like you're suggesting with asking questions. It's not about selling to people at networking events and handing them your business card and making sure they know every last thing that you and your company does. It's really about how you can help them. And in order to do that, you have to be a good listener and you have to be able to ask questions. I think asking the question of, what do you do in your business and how can I help you in the next 30 days is a wonderful way to start a networking conversation.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just was at one the other day, and I got a nice compliment from a guy. He says, you don't tell us what to do. You kind of probe and then give us help. And, and this guy was a pretty sophisticated salesperson. But what we were doing is, what I like to do is tell me what you do. What's your story in 30 seconds? And then I'll say, well, let me probe a little bit and peel away the onion, as I like to call it, and say, well, you don't make a certain product. In the end, you deliver something of value that's a benefit, and it's often emotional. People, like, I don't say I do public speaking training. I know what bothers people. And when I probe them, they say, they've been buying books and DVDs for years, and Mark was able to understand what my real pain was, and he addressed it. And that's really the key, is to identify what they really are concerned with and saying, I think I have an answer for that. Are you interested? And, of course, the answer is always yes.
Of course. And, even if you personally aren't the one who can help them directly, maybe you know somebody in your network who can, and you can offer them a referral for that. And people remember good referrals, and people remember people who wanted to help them, not just sell to them. So I think that's so important to remember in your communication as a business owner or an entrepreneur as you're out there in the public talking to people. It's really about, what you can do to assist the other person. What features and benefits do you offer in your company that can be of assistance to someone and help them get out of their pain?
And how are you different also once you understand their pain? Because I like to joke with financial planners, like, yes, I meet about 10 of you guys every mixer I go. Why should I pick you? You guys are falling off the trees. And and one financial planner said to me, it's my integrity. I said, oh, really? Because I never met anyone who said, Mark, I'm great with numbers. I'm really great with numbers. I'm a little short in the integrity department, but I'm great with numbers. If you have people who don't have integrity, they don't admit it. So does it really have value to say you have integrity? I don't think it does. I think it's important other people say it. So we got talking about his story, and then ultimately he hired me. And I said, look, I'm going to call 10 of your clients and ask them 2 very sophisticated questions. Why'd you pick this guy, and why'd you stick with him? And sure enough, Erica, a theme emerged among those people about why he was different. And then what really struck me is he couldn't wait to say, Mark, what did they say? What did they say? Now, remember, he was a financial planner who had a personal relationship with these clients. In fact, he knew all about their money. But he wasn't able, he may intuitively have known what his edge was, but he certainly wasn't articulating it. And that is very, very typical. The theme emerged that this guy really, he's plain spoken. He puts all this financial jazz in plain English that I can understand, and he makes me money. Sure enough, those were the two defining characteristics for him. I'm not inventing a marketing scheme. Our marketing is based on what we've already done to be successful, yet most companies, they're really not really finely in tune with what makes them different and special, and they're not willing to pound that out there in everything that they do. Because
that's so true.
They're the best.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we come back from the break. You're listening to Punch, Media and Marketing Made Easy on 1220 AM KDOW. I'm your host, Erica Taylor Montgomery, and we'll be right back.